September 4th, 2010. A 7.3 magnitude earthquake strikes the city of Christchurch.
A state of emergency has been declared in New Zealand's second largest city, Christchurch.
A sharp, vicious earthquake. Buildings crumbled. Its epicentre was off the coast of New Zealand's South Island.
Quite significant damage to not only just personal and private property, but obviously assets right across the city.
Every direction you look, it is just absolutely catastrophic.
Scenes of chaos and destruction.
New Zealanders have woken to a tragedy unfolding in the great city of Christchurch. The earthquake that struck the Canterbury region at 10 to 1 yesterday has wreaked death and destruction on a dreadful scale. There is no reason that can make sense of this event, no words that can spare our pain. We are witnessing the havoc caused by a violent and ruthless act of nature. Today all New Zealanders grieve for you, Christchurch.
After all the damage caused, it was obvious that there needed to be new regulations for buildings in Christchurch. And an important part of this was earthquake strengthening. But in order to understand how buildings are protected from earthquakes, we need to understand how earthquakes work. The Earth's crust is divided into 7 tectonic plates, which are constantly sliding against each other. However, these plates often get stuck across seams called fault lines. When this occurs, the energy that would usually cause the plates to move is now being stored up. And when this energy is released, we get an earthquake. During an earthquake, the vibrations in the ground are carried up through the whole structure of a conventional building, causing a jerking motion to occur. This jerking motion is what causes buildings to collapse, as it breaks apart the supports and beams that hold the building together. Knowing how earthquakes cause the damage that they did to buildings, the government needed a technology in order to protect them in the future. Enter base isolation. A base isolation unit consists of a lead core surrounded by alternating plates of rubber and steel. The lead core supports the unit from the inside, while the steel helps it keep its shape and the rubber allows it to deform. Base isolation units act similarly to shock absorbers in cars. They deform to help relieve the pressure on the building. Or as Eduardo Gonzalez, an engineer who specializes in base isolation, states,
What's interesting with these base isolation units is that they isolate the structure from the ground. That means that the ground can move a certain way, while the structure moves a lot less.
So we know that vibrations being carried up through the body of the building is what causes earthquake damage. So base isolation, by preventing these vibrations from being able to be carried up, protects the buildings. The earthquake taught Christchurch that they could not be complacent in their buildings, and that they needed to protect them from the forces of nature. One very important thing that they did was introduce base isolation, and because of this technology, we now have a much safer city.